Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all on frequency. This is ZA6YI, just going to switch off this noise, operating the worldwide net. And we certainly hope it's going to be an interesting afternoon. We want to thank the Qatar Satellite Company for allowing us the opportunity to have our amateur satellite on their satellite. So we share their battery power. And we also wish to thank the AMSAT DL team, AMSAT UK, and of course the British Amateur Television Club for helping us with some fantastic background work and of course developments, etc. Also all the software developers that have put an enormous amount of time and energy into making it even easier to come onto DATV for the average radio ham or amateur radio operator. Today on our list, let's just have a look-see. We have ZS1 Mexico Leon, who will tell us a little bit more about his 40-meter double sideband transceiver and the progress. I know he's done some AGC on the receiver, but I'll leave that up to him. And when Leon, down near Worcester, close to Cape Town, can then pass it to Martin in the UK, G8KOE. And interesting topic there today, Martin. And then to Benno in the Netherlands, Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-ray. And then to Wales, Peter GW7BZY. Peter, you pass it to Phil, Mike 0 Papa India Tango. Also with something very interesting, FF Play Codex. And then to Brian, G6HFS, who had a beautiful pattern and very nice audio. Brian, when I saw your tests a bit earlier. So let us get ZS1 Mexico to be firing up his stations from Zulu Sierra 6, Yankee, India.
Okay, thanks Gary. ZS6YI, this is ZS1 Mike, and a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to everybody on the net and those listening to the streaming or watching the streaming. It is hot in Worcester. Yesterday it was 37. I don't know what it is today. It's a bit cooler than yesterday, but I am definitely not used to this at the moment. It came too suddenly. Last week we had snow on the mountains and today we're cooking. So yeah. Okay, yeah, just in short, my cricket. I've added the AGC after all. Let me just get it so that you can see it. This is just the development board of the receiver. I do not have an audio chip on here yet, you know, LM386, that will come later. I just plug the audio output. No, it must go that way. This audio output coming from there, out. Okay, so what have I added? I've added another tuned circuit there. Oh, come on. Oh, wrong side. There's my input transformer tuned with that little trim cap there onto the dual gate FET there, if I can find it. There, an old-fashioned 40673. I tried a BF980, but it worked, but it tends to go into oscillation. It's just too high a frequency thing, and that feeds into the other tuned circuit, which is now obliterated by that trim pot there in the middle of the board, but it's underneath there somewhere. No, it's not. There it sits. There it sits. I've put it vertical. There's the original tuned circuit, of which I've removed the primary, which was only 6 turns for the antenna. This one's drain feeds straight into the main coil. So I've got an extra 20 odd dBs of gain, which makes the thing very sensitive, but that was not the intention. It was sensitive enough as it was, but I wanted AGC. And with the dual gate FET there, the 40673, it works very well. So what did I do? Oh man, I'm not used to this. I've added a little transistor there, just an audio transistor. You can see it there somewhere, if I don't get tangled by the wires. And that taps off a little bit of the audio. I rectify it with 2 diodes, and I make negative voltage. I get negative DC. The second gate of the FET I pull up with a high impedance to positive. It wants 4 volts for full gain. And I join that to the negative voltage so that at minimal signal you get 4 volts positive, and as the signal increases, the negative voltage overrides the positive, and in the end you end up with like minus 0.5 volts or so on a very, very strong signal, which gives you a very nice AGC, a heck of a dynamic range. And I've tested it, well, yeah, it was last night with faraway stations, compared it to my TS440, and the performance was the same. I could hear the distant stations perfectly, and also the local guy didn't block the receiver at all. So yeah, it looks terrible, but I'm happy with it as it is now. So now I can draw a schematic, and then draw a PC board, make a PC board for this, and then also make a PC board for the transmitter, which also looks in a state like this, but it works. So I was very, very surprised at the audio quality that you get from this thing, because it's got no filters. It's wide. The audio passband is I haven't measured it, but yeah. But even so, the selectivity is quite good. I wanted to demonstrate it to a fellow ham this morning. He was over here, and I had the signal generator on it, and it wouldn't receive nothing. It's just like sitting there dead. And then I remembered I put the frequency in wrong. It's not, at the moment I've got a crystal in there, a crystal oscillator, but it normally will run off the synthesizer. The same synthesizer that drives the transmitter will also drive the receiver. But it's too many wires for now for developing the front end. So I thought I'll just stick a crystal in there and make it oscillate. And it works perfectly. And the crystal that I could find puts me on 7.1556 megs, which is on the high side of 40 meters. And I had the generator on 7.1335 or something, and nothing. And then when I punched in the right frequency, boo, there it goes. And I had a variable attenuator because the generator is too far from where I'm working. So I had another attenuator, and I could easily go down to minus 90 dBm, and it will still receive very, very nicely. So I'm quite happy with the sensitivity and the selectivity and the dynamic range. So yeah, that in short is what's cooking here. Right, Martin, over to you. G8KOE. Well, oh, by the way, Gary, I have just before you came on, I googled the Sony AX53. Yeah, it's a small camera like what we use, but it's got good specs. Very impressive. I was eavesdropping on you guys just towards the end of your over. G8KOE for the group from ZS1 Mike in Worcester.
Right, let's hope it works. I just have this big feeling that the sound's going to be all over the place because Windows adjusted it last time I was on the net. That's very interesting on your transceiver as such there. I find that amazing how you're able to build things up in that way. It just takes out of my ear because I can hear what's going on and it puts me off. No, I'm absolutely really impressed. you know, how you just sort of construct things up, and it's sort of old style, which I might have done when I was a bit younger, but I don't think I'd up to playing that way now. What I've been playing with, as usual, things tied up with All Star, but this time it's with Squelch Tail. I've got two nodes, one that I built myself, which uses the Bofang 888 as the RF side, and the second one which uses the Shari copy node, which is the SA818 in it. And I've been the radio I've been receiving on is the standard little Konshang, and that's got a on both of them I get a Squelch Tail. It's much worse, funny enough, on the Shari copy, but in the radio it's got an STE setting, Squelch Tail Eliminator, and you switch that on, for my node that I've constructed with the 888, perfect, but I still get a Squelch Tail with the 818, and I'm not quite sure. I've tried all sorts of settings, you know, moving the frequency of the 818. Oh, that's monitoring the VK6 SEG net. It came to life. Yeah, I've changed the frequency, CTCSS, increased the squelch level, all sorts of things, with it on, with it off. Also tried some settings that we used to in the other to get rid of there was a setting called RX audio delay. I tried playing with that in the config of the node. That didn't help. In fact, nothing helps really at the moment. So any suggestions is really what I'm after. You know, it's sort of interesting when you look at so many videos online, and it seems to be more prone with repeaters and that with the Squelch Tail, but somebody more knowledgeable than myself would explain what's possibly going on and why I can't get to the answer. I wasn't sure whether the 818, SA818 is doing a lot of switching or whatever, whether it's producing more noise, etc, etc. So any help there would be useful. Whilst I was looking around, just whilst we're talking of hotspots and that, I found another company which I will just put up, Screen Center, Hotspot Radio. Well, I didn't know existed, but they produce hotspots as well, a varying number of hotspots, similar to the Shari ones, but different. There's a repeater one and duplex one. Not sure, I just thought I'd pop it up there. Anybody that wants to go and have a look, I'll copy the and paste it in. I've been making notes to make sure I didn't oh yeah, I've had, let's go back to me, all sorts of problems with audio, etc, and my really low voice, and I've had some constructive criticism and some suggestions from Rob, VK3IE, one of which was to wear some tighter underpants. He thought this might give an uplift to the the frequency of my voice, so yeah, that was one of the suggestions. I know I didn't show before, but I've probably shown it before. On my second node, which I monitor, let's go to the centre screen, the VK6 SEG Southwest Hub, which is on 42482 rather, and to give you some sort of idea, it's quite a big network, and I have a couple of, well, one friend in particular that used to work in the UK that is over and been there for, he emigrated there. So I'm able to make contact with him. But that's me in the blue that's connected in. And interesting listening. So publicity for that. It's a well-run little network, that. Absolutely superb. Right, back to me. I think that's probably about all, but if anybody's got any suggestions on the squelch tails and suggestions on what I might look at, I will play a bit more with. I was hoping to get Mike, if Mike was on, because he's got the same hotspot showy type node that I've got, and I'm wondering whether he suffers with these squelch tails. Anyway, on that note, I was going to say, that's what I meant to sort of say. The number of stations that have been accessing the chat back, talk back, whatever on 47572 has been increasing quite well. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the moment stations that at odd times pop in, and that's G6GZH David was a recent station that joined in. Roger GLHKN, he has been recently in. I see Phil was in today, G0PIT, and had a long conversation with OD5TB Tony, which was after some help on how I got various audios from different places. So it's a hi to them. Right. It's, and other stations, I hear rumours, might be joining us as well. But we shall see on that. Right. Over to you there, Benno, and I like your flipping backwards and forwards audio, so I'll pop up a test card and it's all yours. From G8KOE.
Hi guys. Oops, sorry. A little bit less audio would be nice. Hi guys. And my background a little bit down as well. Nice audio today from you, Martin. And yes, I never complain because I don't have it perfect as well. Despite I should be able to should be receivable. But it can be so much better if you're really into that. I'm not into that, and I didn't receive my Note hardware yet, so I did another thing this over the last basically this morning. I quickly prepared that, and I got a bunch of these of the Ali. Well, I got this one, which I have seen before, but which I didn't see is this one, which is 2.4 gig. And actually, if I take it off, I haven't seen this one on yet. So I was lucky enough to get a few of those. These are all filters within, within a few euros. It's not crazy. It's you can find them on AliExpress, and they are about 5 or 10 euros each. So this is very cheap, by the way. This is about 3 euros something. But filtering is one of those things you need to check what you buy. And I have prepared some images. So what you see here is the 2.4. Let's go back. So we are talking about this filter, and probably a SAW filter underneath. I didn't take the idea, but I think there will be a SAW filter underneath there. And what does it do? Well, actually not bad. Bear in mind, this was a quick look. I didn't look exactly how deep it is, but I wonder what is the how much is it down on the middle frequency, and you see it's -3, -4 dB down in what it should be. My reference was 0 dB and dBm, and it is -4, and on the 3 dB gate it is about from 2.38 to 2.5. So actually it's for the satellites, for transmission on the side on the satellite, it's pretty good. If you remember to add some 4 dB gain in one of the presages, I would say it's pretty good. I don't see much on the second and third harmonic, so it's pretty good for its job, especially compared with the price. So if you go to the next, let me go quickly to the next one. This is the filter for, let me make this a little bit bigger. This is my PCB filter, €3 only. It's better on the through point on the satellite, but it's obviously much wider, and it's also not that deep on the second harmonic. So it's what it's to be expected. What I didn't expect is the third filter, which is 1.2 gig. We like to think that it's 1.2 to 1.3, but no, it's actually 1.2. And right in the middle there is the 1.2, and on the 1.2 2.3 it's already going down rapidly, and so for the higher frequencies on 1.223 it's garbage. You cannot use that on the 23 SAMs, but it says to 1.2, so I cannot complain. It's doing exactly what it's expected, but it's, well, not what I would expect to use it for. So this is just a quickie. Let me go back to my camera, and that's basically it. Like I said, I will get a note somewhere probably this week, and we'll start working on that. So by the time I get it, I'll probably end up asking Martin to help me out on the last bits and pieces, and I am working on a lot of other things, but that's not for this net today. I have not heard why, Leon, why are you creating that 40 meters double sideband receiver? I wonder if you can make that more clear. Double sideband receivers are nice. They have always a very good audio, I would say, but with the current all the active receivers, I wonder why you're creating something for 40 meters. That's what I want to understand, and what is the goal, the end goal of your receiver experiments. Well, having said that, I'm going to hand it over to the man with the best picture, Peter. Leave the frequency for you, and I have a test card, and passing it over to you, sir. from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray, and well, I will be there for the next round.
We'll go with the test card. Yeah, we'll have a bit of a test card. Okay, that's enough test card. Professionally started again. Picture quality operator, not necessarily. I've got a bit of audio coming out somewhere. Yeah, all good, excellent. So thanks for the introduction there, Benno. Correct on the picture quality. Hopefully the sound's not too bad. I'm running a directional mic which is just off shot there. I don't know, put that into shot. I don't know that I can. There we go. That's a proper microphone. I think that's Sony SM8 or something like that. Not SM8, but EM8 or M10 or something of such. Not that it matters very much. Yeah, exciting. Well, interesting stuff there, Leon, with your receiver. I think you're building for a kit for your Gary's grandson there. That's what I understand. But yeah, we'll hear more about that. I expect. 15 degrees here. Not very hot. Not very cold. Actually dry today. It's not raining. That's the big news. Not raining at the moment. I think that's the answer. Phil, I haven't seen Phil yet. Filters. I'm running. I was just taking a picture of my system where I've got the amplifier, Pluto, and then I have a TW4 KZ filter, which is KZ is Brian, which is our local repeater group, and he builds filters, and he built one for me for 2.4 gigs, which I just sent to tune. It's quite narrow, and I think it's got a pretty good cut-off. I think it goes down about 30-40 dB either side of the required frequency, although it's quite narrow, and it does sort of affect, not quite wide, it's not quite 8 megs wide, so I think it's tuned down the bottom or the top end, whichever we are, to give the best. But it does suck out some power. I'm sure it's losing about 3 dB on the truss. And of course I've got an AMSAT preamp with its own built-in filter, and I reckon, and I don't know, I think it's maybe psychosomatic, but I reckon I'm getting a better mirror back from the repeater, not introducing spurious signals into the preamp or the main amplifier, or at least cutting them down significantly. So I think it's a good idea. I also used to run, I still do run a transformer on the receiver to transform from 50 ohms, which the voltage injection is, and the LMB amplifier, which that feeds into, coming downstream now, and that's got a cut-off frequency of about 1,000 megs, and cuts off quite a lot of the noise from the top of unwanted part of the LMB. So I think that also produces about a 1 dB improvement in reception. So the two together works pretty well. Hopefully you can see me. I know it all's working. I'm going up my output power because my amplifier does kind of fall off as it gets warm. We'll just whack it up a bit. Don't want people not seeing me. That wouldn't be good, would it? Not with the best picture in the world, possibly. Even if I do say so myself. That's about it from here, from GW7BZY. Will I come on again? I didn't come on last week. Second time, wife called me away, and so I don't know. I probably will. I'll say I will now, and then if I don't, I'll change. I think that's about it, because obviously we've got others to go, and I'm looking forward to hear what they're saying. From GW7BZY in not quite sunny Wales, but certainly not a rainy Wales. From GW7BZY with a test card. Test card. Proper test card.
Good afternoon, one and all. Audio's a bit high. Let's turn that down a little bit. Yeah, right. Leon, I do like your little receiver. I think that's a brilliant little project, and by the sound of it, it's working quite well too. So yeah, it's a nice little project. And Martin and his All-Star. I did take a picture. There it is. That's my little node. Reason I'm sort of showing you is that I haven't attacked the Bofang. It basically works through the external mic speaker connection, and it all works through that, even the cross signal. And yeah, it works. Anyhow, that's enough of All-Star. Let's go back to me. There we go. A lot of you know that I ended up with a new motherboard and my PC, and I basically built my PC, which is a little bit more powerful than the one I had previously. So just out of an exercise to exercise it, I transmitted some 266 on 333 kilosymbols, and it worked. But the thing was, I didn't have any means to receive it. I did get reports from a couple of people to say that my signal was perfect, but I had no means to receive it, so I started having a look round for receivers, bits of software, etc. Because I run Linux, so I suppose I'm a bit different from everybody else. At that time I found it quite difficult. I was unable to find anything without doing a lot of work. So I sort of fell back onto FFmpeg. Now FFmpeg has got a feature in it called FF Play. Now FFmpeg is basically, it's all based on a command line, and other people have written GUIs around the front of it, but basically FFmpeg, even though it's extremely powerful with the amount of codecs that it has and also you can put into it, it has this thing called FF Play, and that enables you to basically within, if you want, FFmpeg, display an actual video image and audio as well. Let's turn that off a little bit. There's interference coming in, probably off my screen. Anyhow, because it's a new PC, I basically installed the latest FFmpeg, which I think is 7.1. It's literally hot off the press, so I loaded that. And it comes with a decode of 266 as default. So I built it with all the relevant codecs that I needed to, and one of them was H266, so I was able to use it to transmit 266. So anyhow, so I then tried to use FF Play, and it kept coming up with VVC not found, which is basically the 266 codec, and it couldn't find it, didn't say it was there. And yet the documentation for FFmpeg says it's there. So I had a look at the codecs in FFmpeg, and yes, it was there. And after a lot of work, and it was a lot of work, nearly a half a day working on this damn thing, I had a look at, or I realised that I could use a command in FF Play to list its codecs. And when I did that, much to my astonishment, even though it's a part of the same suite. There was a lot of codecs that were missing in FF Play that are in FFmpeg, and one of those is H.266. So I was not able to receive 266 with FF Play, and as far as I am aware, the only way you can get codecs into FF Play is into FFmpeg. So in other words, there is no way of getting additional codecs into FF Play if it doesn't want to use them from FFmpeg. I did ask the question about support in FF Play for H.266 on a forum, and I thought it was quite a reasonable question, and the reply that came back was basically saying that's an opinion and you need to ask a question, and that just blew me out the water because it was a question. So anyhow, I won't be bothering with that anymore. But anyhow, the outcome of that was I spoke to Martin and he said he uses MPV. Well, MPV as a standard doesn't come with H.266 either, but there is a way of getting codecs into it, and luckily enough there is somebody who's already done it, and I was able to download that program, and I was able to receive my own signal. So that was quite good. Anyhow, that's my ventures into FF Play stroke FFmpeg. It's just, if any of you guys do play with FF Play, don't assume the codec is in it if it is in FFmpeg. Anyhow, that's me having quite a long chant about FFmpeg. So I think that's enough from me for this over. So I'm going to hand it over to Brian. Oh, one question for everybody. If anybody has been able to use multicast within the Winter Hill, getting it running, I'd be very interested to hear. I don't really want to talk about it on the net because it probably bore everybody, but if anybody has successfully achieved multicast from Winter Hill, I'll be really interested to know, and perhaps we could have a chat offline, etc. Anyhow, that's enough from me. Who am I handing over to? Brian. So I'm going to put up a test guard. Are you ready, Brian? I'm going to put up the test guard and then I shall kill carrier. Oh, my signal's dropped down. That's because the PA's got a bit warm. Right, let's put up my test guard.
Right, let's check we've got audio. Yep, sounds good to me. So have a little bit of noise in the background. I'll have to sort that out. I'll have a look. Yeah, sorry not been about, but been a bit under the weather, and also helping son out, sorting out the Ethernet runs in the house he's moved into. We had no way of testing, so I thought I had a tester but couldn't find it, so quickly knocked one up. This has got a couple of RJ45 connectors, couple of resistor packs, and 8 LEDs at the top here, and all it does is just give you a feedback loop back. Used a just built a loop back connector with an RJ45, and you can test either a cable, because it's got 2 RJ45 ports, or you can run the test port around the house, put the loop back in one part of the wiring and then the other. It's very simple. All it does is switch the LEDs about. So if we do that and wiggle the loop back connector about, you can see if you've got an open circuit or a short. So that's what I've been doing. Done a little board, built a couple up, and while we were doing that, I come across on these box of tricks. Gosh, I think I need my other glasses on. One of these. I said to my son, "Oh, are you using that?" He went, "No, I've not used it for ages." "Was it any good to you?" So I said, "Yes, please, I'll have a play." I need to wake it up, don't I? Which one is it? That one, I think. Oh, there we go. Let's just swap that over. Sorry about that, didn't wake it up. So I've been playing with that. That's what I've been up to. Not a lot else. So apart from today, as it's this time of year and I have to have jabs, I've had one in each arm. COVID in the left, flu in the right. So I shall feel yuck. Knowing my luck, and a little bit. That's just put that back up. I'll say 7.3s for now. I may not be back on. Don't feel too great today either. So I'll say 7.3s for now, and hand it round to Gary. Z6YI. Put a test card back up and say cheers. Good afternoon all.
Okay, Brian, G6HFS, and the group ZA6YI. That was interesting. Incidentally, I saw it on Facebook when you placed a little article about that. It's a handy tool to have, for sure, especially if you're playing with these long cables and you have to find out if it's working. I could have done with one of those about 2-3 weeks ago. I put a new system in for the gates and so forth, and also a wireless link from the gate to the house, so for the cameras. Yes, and we had problems with these little cables, which wasn't very well crimped, so you had loose connections, and it would work for a day or two. Anyway, sorted out the problem, and touch wood, it's all going well. Leon, that's excellent. That receiver's come on very well. It must have been quite embarrassing for a little while when you couldn't get the thing to receive. It was dead still, dead quiet, but tested me to a very high input Q. So that's great. And just wondering, I know you want to build the whole transceiver in the size of a cigarette box type of thing, and I won't, you can explain more to Benno what you want to do with it. But I was just wondering if one does expand it a little bit, because you've got the nucleus of it, and then put in filters for lower and upper sideband, and the same with the transmitter, then you'll actually have a very, very fancy unit, I must say. Martin, okay, on the squelch, can't help you much there, unless you go to CTCCS or whatever, some other form. And I'm not sure, that can give you a bit of headache, say. There's another way, but then you do it with a little transistor switch, and that switches the audio off completely immediately after it's not present, but you'll have to go into the circuit a little bit. But I'm sure there must be a more elegant way. And then Benno, yeah, nice signal from you, and yeah, I do like your audio with the stereophonic sound there, and it swings from the one speaker to the next. It makes us realize or automatically test our systems there, and all good on those filters. 4 dB loss though, insertion loss is quite high, but okay, it doesn't cost too much. But you could look at, for that frequency, a little pipe filter does well. Very low insertion loss and quite a high Q, and especially on the third harmonic and second and third harmonic, quite good. So but it's a lot bigger than that little filter you've got there, so it depends what you want to do with it. But yeah, 4 dB, a little bit of gain in the front, and you should be okay. But don't forget, then your depth also rises, so you don't win much. But I don't know if you really need so much filtering, such a high Q. But anyway, nice project all the same. And then Peter, yes, you certainly do have an excellent signal, video signal. There's no doubt about that. I was watching nicely. It's really and really a good signal. So you got it right. You got it right. So well done. I'll tell you who put through a very good signal today was Graham, G3 Victor Kilo Victor. I think that's his, or yeah, UKV or VKV. I can't read my own handwriting. He really put through a very, very nice signal, running 2/3 FEC. But he had a shirt on with lots of little square blocks. You could see every block. He's using a little Sony X53 camera, but it really, really, really was a good picture. I think Leon will bear that out. I've seen that he was watching. I was wondering if you would be watching, Leon. And good on you to go and check out that camera. And then Phil, yeah, always interesting from you, and that FF Play codec, yeah, that can be a bit of a nuisance. And in answer to your question, I think old man Tom managed to do that simulcasting, so you can maybe have a word with him. Although he's a bit difficult to get hold of these days, he's extremely busy at his work. So, and as is Owen, he very seldom do I hear from him, but it must be about 2-3 weeks ago, just a quick hello. But also he's been promoted about a month or two ago, and a lot of his spare time has now gone into his work situation, much like myself, to be very honest. And yeah, Brian, coming back to you, a very nice project that was, and I did see you posted it on Facebook as well, so great stuff. And maybe you can just put a sticker down sometime. I don't know if you did, but I did look at the quick posting there. Anyway, there's no one else on the net today, so it's going to be short. I will make this my final over, but pass it through down to Brian. He said he might not be there. Then Phil, if you can tie the ribbons, if Brian does not come back, I wouldn't mind if you could do that. So to you, Leon, ZS1 Mexico from ZS6 Yankee India. I'll also be closing this side, but I'll let the thing run on YouTube. I just want to say hi to Peter, Delta Kilo 3 Zulu Fox. He's always on, of course. Hello to Joe. He's on again. I'd like to see you sometime, Joe. 9 Hotel 1 Golf Tango. And then let me just see. Gunter, Delta 8 Golf Whiskey. Yeah, Delta 8 Golf Whiskey is on. Hello to Gunter. And we've just been joined by, from Denmark, OZ9HZ. Hello, Mark, my old friend. ZS6 Hotel Zulu. Gee, you was Mark. I hope you're well. I saw a little bit of you on Facebook recently. Yes, Mark used to work for an emporium that used to sell Kenwood radios many years ago. And he's now in Denmark and also got his citizenship. So I saw that at least, Marky. I hope you're well. ZS6 Hotel Zulu. And he's also now OZ9 Hotel Zulu. So it'd be lovely for you to join us on this net, Mark. Gee, be good to see you. Anyway, with that, I pass it to Leon, ZS1 Mexico, from ZS6 Yankee, India.
Okay, thanks Gary. ZS6YI in the group, ZS1 Mike now also for final. I have 10 minutes to go, then I must jump into the car and do my thing. Okay, Martin, yeah, your squelch problem, I really can't help you there. With normal radios, I know what to do inside, but I don't think you want to get inside the radio. Benno, those filters, definitely not SAW filters. SAW filters are extremely lossy, like 20 dBs or something is quite normal for a SAW filter, and the price is very high. So I doubt whether those will be SAW filters. I think it's also just stripline filters. Some of them have just been put in little cases. I used to do a lot of microwave work at the workplace, and I used a program, a very old program. It's still a DOS program. The mouse doesn't even work with it, but it's very good for designing filters like that. And I've designed many filters and built many filters on 2.4 gigs and 2.5 gigs. Yes, the thing is called Puff the Magic Dragon, the program, and it works very well. But nowadays I've got lots of these. That's a 2.4 gig filter, and Gary, have a look where it comes from. Florida, South Africa. I think it's a copy from the original French ones, but anyway, these are 2.4 gig filters. They're tunable. They've got some epoxy stuff in there, but you just scratch it out and you can get to all the little twiddlers there, and you can change it if you want to. But it's got very steep sides, but it's reasonably wide, with about half a dB or so loss, insertion loss. So it's very, very good. It's cavity filters. And then I also acquired a couple of these. These are actually duplexes. Very, very nice. This is NEC. You can see that's just the antenna side. And there's the transmitter and the receiver ports. And if you look at the specs, it's all tunable. Oh, come on, camera, where are you? It's 2308 megs and 2402 megs. So you can use them individually if you want to. But very nice. These are being thrown out. I get them from my friend, the scrap dealer in Bredasdorp. So yes, I don't think I'll have to make any S-band filters anymore. I think I have enough of these real good ones. Okay, Benno, the idea with the receiver. Well, I first built the transmitter. It also looks like the receiver, just a spider web, because I haven't made the PC board yet. And I still want to add about another 2 little amplifiers to it. I'm aiming for about 1 watt, at least 1 watt output. Why I'm doing this, I want to give the local guys something to build with very, very easy to obtain components. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Because a lot of them are interested in local work, you know, maybe 50 Ks communication or so. That's why we chose 40 meters. 40 meters is very active in this area, and the propagation at the moment is quite good there. So that's the idea, so that you can say, okay, there's a schematic. I can make you a blank PC board, and you can assemble it yourself, and you don't need any special components to build this thing. So that's that. Why double sideband? Because then you don't need filters. The moment you go with filters, you need a heterodyne oscillator as well, and the whole thing gets much more complicated. And you only lose 3 dBs of signal level when you go double sideband compared to single sideband. And the audio quality is fantastic. There is no single sideband set that can give you the audio quality that this double sideband thing gives you. It's like 2 meters. It's amazing. Okay, so yeah, that's the reason for the receiver to match my transmitter. It's fully tunable, and it's very easy to put it onto any band. It's only the 2 tuned circuits that you have to make either switchable or have a couple of them. Oh, my microphone is falling off. So yeah, it'll work on any band, but I chose 40 meters because that's the active HF band locally here. Hardly anybody uses 80 meters now. They use 40 meters, and there's even DX on 40 meters. Okay, Phil, your FFmpeg stuff. Yeah, I know nothing about that. Fortunately, my stuff works. I don't know what sort of peg it uses, but it's working. And Brian, yeah, I could immediately hear that you've got a bit of noise on your audio, but it sounds like just like LAN noise or some digital stuff running around. And very nice that LAN tester that you built. Yeah, that's very handy. I think they have something like that at our workplace. The guys who do the IT department, because they run miles and miles and miles of the stuff. Well, the long runs are optical fiber, but then they go to copper at some stage, and yeah, and the stuff makes noise, eh? Very noisy. Okay, gents, I have to run. I have to go to work. Yeah, I must be at work again tomorrow. So yeah, that's it from me, and I pass it to Martin. 73s to all. G8KOE for the group from ZS1 Mike.
Yeah, I don't know whether you had a problem there, Leon, but I lost your picture for about half of your transmission. I don't think someone was underneath, but you were breaking up from when you were talking about filters. But they might have been. But those filters look nice anyway. Quite like those. Right. So I wrote down. Yeah, to Phil, when you first came on, you were out of focus. I called you on All Star, but you didn't hear. So, although you're connected, didn't look like it was working. Multicast, you queried. I use the Wintel client, written by Tom, which I fired up. So yep, you're working there. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the top 2 windows, and then over there on the laptop, the bottom 2 windows. So that's multicast. Sorry, I need to turn the camera down a little bit. Too much light, so it's overdoing it. But it works with Windows and Tom's software, and that's the other receiver over there. Anyway, so that's that answered. I don't know what it would do with your setup there on Airfill, and I use obviously. Let's go back to centre. On DATV Red, there's FF Play, which I can use, or MPV Player. Both of those will work with H.266. So that they work a treat. VLC obviously doesn't, but those two do. That'll be good. Right, we've just had Roger is going to join the net at the end. So I'm not sure who's I think it's Phil's the last one on the net. So why have I lost myself? Is someone transmitting? Let's no. Right, okay, it's come back. For some reason I wasn't. I've probably got too much going on. Interesting. Why is that not locking up? I don't know. Everything stopped working, he says. Let's go back to me. I don't seem to be working. What's gone wrong? No. I better. Was it working there, Roger? I've lost the receive this thing, but I've got other things running. It seems to have all fallen apart, but I shouldn't have started up another receive program. Let's close this multicast one down and start OpenTuner up again. It shouldn't sort of try and do two things at once, but yeah, it does work there, Phil. Just not totally. And when I just can't understand why the other receiver that I've got isn't pulling up on. Anyway, we'll connect again using this one and see whether we get me. Let's have a go. Oh, that doesn't look very good power-wise. I know what probably it is. I'm not receiving myself because it's raining hard. It's raining very, very hard, so that's the reason. Apologies to Leon. It's my receive setup that's failing, but if I'm getting in, which I can see I'm getting in, but I'm not receiving, it's absolutely bucketing it down. So this shows how confusing you can get. So that threw me totally. Because all the receive sides weren't working, and I assumed that there was a fault, and I assumed there was a fault with you, Leon. So it's me. Right, on that note, I will throw it round to Benno, I think. Bring some sanity back to the QO-100. I'll put a test card and it's yours, Benno, from G8KOE.
Yeah, too much things are happening and taking all your attention. That's the problem with all those separate communication channels. Keep a note to myself that I shouldn't do that. Actually, I've done that before and always fall in that same pattern that I don't pay enough attention. Yeah, Brian, nice a piece of equipment, nice idea. I think, well, if you have nothing in your shack, you should build something like that. But I understand. I reckon you know this kind of tools. which are for €5 on eBay. It's well, the main advantage is you can actually move it from from both ends. Basically, this part is transmitting and this part is receiving, and you can see all the LEDs, one channel by one wire after each other going. And if you have a mix-up, because that happens also quite often, you don't see that on your, but you will see that on this one, because if you mix up two wires, you cross two wires, you have another problem. Well, anyway, I have 3 or 4 of these, just because I did some previous jobs where I got one of those from my company, and well, I had one in the junkyard, and well, I had several of those. Actually, at currently where I'm working, they also have one of these, but then recently they bought 3 years ago, they got a nice network analyzer, and I was quite astonished. It will pick out a lot of extra faults you don't see on this. If you think you have 8 wires connected, you don't need to have a perfect connection, especially with the current 1 gig connection types. You need some additional things to test, and it will pick it flawlessly out on this new piece of equipment. It will tell me exactly what's connected, if it's connected and how it's connected, and if it's doing what kind of speed it would expect to do, especially if you have wires like 80 or 100 meters long. You know, UTP shouldn't be longer than 100 meters, but even with 50 meters and on a busy factory environment, you can imagine all kind of new problems. Well, anyway, nice, understandable, Leon, your transceiver. Yeah, it's a nice project for this, and now I understand why you're putting that effort in there, and I know it's within your capabilities. I also have a bunch of finger filters, cavity filters. Actually, I have one for 2.3, but what I wanted is something to put in my transmission side. I found that especially the Pluto obviously gives a lot of noise on bands and frequencies and mixing a lot of things. So directly after the Pluto you should connect something like this, making the signal a little bit less noisy and easier to amplify. But and then you don't want a big cavity filter, but you just want simple things like this in front of it, and well, for a few bucks it's not a problem to put that in. And on the 1 dB or the 0 dB output of the Pluto, 4 dB loss is not a big issue, because you have to amplify it anyway. Okay, that's the general idea. 73 is all. Passing it on to you, Peter, if you're there, and otherwise it will continue to fill, I believe, from Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-Ray. 73 is all, and have a nice week from PA 3 Fox Bravo X-Ray. Do I have a test card? Yes, I have. Bye bye.
Okay, there's my chain as it exists at the moment, and probably will do, the old Pluto. The DIY filter, yes, it is a wooden box, and then the AMSAT driver amplifier into the big amplifier, 37 dB. I think you can see there. Actually, and that's. Yeah, it's me. And that's the other filter I have, which I'm not using, obviously, but I think it's a band pass filter. I think it just cuts off in the wrong place, but it's adjustable. You can there's screws on it, so I'm sure I can adjust it. But I haven't found the need to put it in really. This filter I have now, and the filtering in the AMSAT amplifier, and as Ben rightly says, I think we do need some filtering on the Pluto. What comes out is not particularly good, and all that intermodulation it's not working well for your drive amplifier or for the main amplifier. And I think with some test, there is there's I think a dB or more of mere to be had with the filters than without. So. It's making it easier to receive without adding extra power. So that's always a good thing as well. But that's it from here, from GW7 BZY. Yeah. Anything else there? Yeah, I've got one of them LAN testers. I used to run from my last location when I first went on band, or just about getting on before I moved. I ran a LAN wire out to a box in the garden, back at the bottom of the garden where the dish was. And then I had the Pluto out there, and I ran, I think video down the LAN. No, I ran, I can't remember what I ran down the LAN. I think I was running video, a streamed video at the time, and just using the Pluto, not with the way we do now. With DATV Red, but a simpler system with you, I found it very unreliable. I think the RF would get in, and it would just jam transmitting, which was quite dodgy because you had to walk down the bottom of the GAN with the dish facing you to switch it off, or just switch it off with power. Switch the power off, which was not very good for the PA, and eventually killed the PA. So that was quite expensive, although it was repaired. That's about it from me, from GW7 BZY. Won't be on next week, I don't think. Working, etc. Anything else I want to say? Yeah, all very good. Martin, very interesting with your, I didn't say last time, did I? I hadn't forgotten you, with your All-Star. I can't see myself doing it, really. I mean, I like to, but then I never used it. I had that DMR working for a bit, until it failed. And I didn't use it even when it worked. So, and I have a HF rig here and a all mode, all bands. I don't use that either. So, yeah. Sorry to hear, Brian, that you're not well. The old COVID, it's not good. The wife had the flu last January. She still isn't really over it, and she's got to go for another jab to try not to get this year's flu. So anyway, we all have to suffer with that. That's about it from GW7 BZY in. Can I see out the window? Not really. I don't think it's sunny. An overcast Wales. And catch you when I catch you. Let's go for a test card, eh? We'll just go. Of course, I'm using vMix here, so that would probably be the answer of all problems, would be to use vMix. But then that's by and by, isn't it? From GW7BZY. Over to M6PIT.
Oh, cheers, Peter. I've upped my power a bit. Roger wants to have a go, and weather's not good down there, so I've upped my power just a little bit. Yes, I'm hoping that you'll be able to receive it. Yeah, great. Yeah, cheers, Martin, about the FF Play. Be interested to know how Ohan achieved it. I was just thinking that if it's an old version of FFmpeg, and you can put in the codecs for 266, encode and decode, I wonder if FF Play would recognise it. That's an interesting thing to try. That'd be something to do during the week. Anyhow, so that's that. MPV player as standard. The standard player doesn't, at this point in time, does not have support for 266. However, there is a modified version, which I think is called MPV-VVC Easy, that has got the H.266 codecs in it, and it works, because that's what I run, but it's not the bog standard version of MPV. Anyhow, that's really neither here nor there. Yeah, I'm still not sure about this multicast. I haven't seen any on the network, no multicast packets at all. So I'm a bit, so I should do some more playing. But yeah, so that's another little thing for me to do. Yeah, it's great net as always. I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm going to hand it over to Brian. I don't think Brian is around. And if he doesn't come up, can you take it, Roger? And as you're the last on the net, maybe you could close it down. So I'm going to hand it over to Brian, and if Brian's not there, hopefully Roger will take over. And have a good week, everyone. If I don't see you to close the net, I shall hand it over to Brian or Roger.
Yep, just come up and say hi, just check audio. Oh, that little noise in the background, I have to see what that is. That's appeared ever since I put the Pluto on the OTG lead and running it off Ethernet. Okay, we'll have to have a look at that. Just for Gary, if he's still there. Oops, knocking things about. Yeah, there is a diagram. It's very simple. It's just resistor packs and reverse biasing the LEDs. I cheated. I should put some sort of a chip in there to switch properly, because at the moment you're just relying on the different trigger voltage of the LED. So when you reverse it, one just switches off and the other one lights up. So it's just a bit of a cheat, but it did its job. Yeah, out of all the wiring, now we found one fault, so saves a lot of messing around. dead simple really, just a PP3 and a regulator on the PCB, 8 diodes and a couple of RJ45 sockets. You just rely on the loop back connector with just a short that comes back the other way. So that's a quick and simple tester of Ethernet. That's all it was done for. Right, I'll say 7 3s for now and go off. Good at. Try and get on a bit more often, and I think it goes round to Young Roger G3IUZ, doesn't it? So I'll pass it round. Just put a test card up from G6HFS round to you, Roger.